Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Darrell Owens, and we are back for another edition of Green and Gold Over Everything. Yes, it's been a couple months, but, we told you we were going to come back to you guys to talk about the offseason and, just kind of let you know how we feel about things have been, done for the draft and for the free agency and kind of where things are. And so it's going to be fun to see how this upcoming season happens. It's going to be a very tough season. It is a very tough schedule. I got my man Randall Burns joining me today, here on Green and Gold Over Everything. So let's go ahead and get the party started for another edition of Green and Gold Over Everything here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network.
Here's Love. Taps it a couple times, going in, caught, Dobbs, touchdown,
from the
Green
Atlanta
Bay.
32, off the play fake, Love fires over the middle, and it's caught for a first down, and a touchdown by Dontavian Alexander this afternoon. Carr taken down on third down. Kenny Clark, the two-time holdover. 9, second quarter underway. Carr down, back at the 16-yard line. Rashawn Garrett. Here's Reed. And Reed wins. And Reed got a block and a touchdown. He goes his way. Takes it behind. He's sacked by Luke Van Ness. Here comes the Chiefs. Pressure's on. Love. Enzo Wilson. Oh, did he catch that? He did. Stops in motion. Love. Flips it to the end zone. Touchdown. Oh, Melton's got that one. Jones runs it down their face. Fake it to him here. Love, back foot, has a man wide open. It's going to be caught by Musgrave. Racing towards the end zone. He is in. Touchdown, Green Bay. 3rd and 5, 4-man rush. Prescott fires for Cooks, and it's intercepted. Jair Alexander, he's got it. Up on his feet, racing to the end zone, and it's in. Touchdown, Green Bay.
Hi, what's up, everybody? We're back, Green and Gold Over Everything, episode 12 here in season 2. So technically, that's the number-wise. But look, we're glad to have everybody here with us for another episode, just to talk some Packers football, kind of get some things off our chest, talk about how we feel about the offseason. Of course, I got the man, the myth, and the absolute legend with me, Mr. Randall Burns. Randall, what is up, brother?
No cardboard notes today.
I'm so proud of you, man. he says we are not at that portion of the season yet, y'all. Well, we're got to break out some cardboard just yet, but I feel like we will get there at some point. Well, we are a couple of weeks removed from the draft. The off season has kind of been, going the way it's gone, and it has been, some interesting moves along the way. And so can't wait to get into get into this with you about how things are gone. So first, I'll start off with our off season and I did miss one as we were talking. I started realizing I missed one on this graphic, but this is what we have so far. Now the one I'm missing is Isaiah Simmons. We did sign Isaiah Simmons a couple of weeks ago. I think about a week or so ago. Linebacker formerly of the Giants and the Cardinals. So he is also a Packer now, and be a very interesting move for the Packers. And then we have receiver Mecole Hardman for the Kansas City Chiefs, who is a Super Bowl winner. Aaron Banks of the 49ers, who was a lot of people saw as the best guard heading into this offseason, that was on the free agent list. Nate Hobbs from the Raiders, cornerback. He will replace Eric Stokes, who is no longer with the team. And then we have Isaiah McDuffie signing back, Brandon McManus signing back. Randall, like, how do you feel, how you think they did, with the free agency period of things? Do you feel good about it? You think there could have been more done? How do you feel about it?
I know everybody usually wants the big, flashy signing, but to me, it was like, you did that last offseason. And I think that's what a lot of people forgot. Like, we came out the gate, Xavier McKinney, Josh Jacobs. If you're doing that 2 years in a row, there's usually a problem. We made it to the playoffs. Defense played better. And as much as we don't like to, offensive line doesn't look like the sexy or the exciting thing. We need help. I think Jordan was one of the least sacked QBs in the league last year, but a lot of it was because of how he maneuvered in the pocket. And then there were times where, in avoiding a sack, he would avoid the sack, make a bad throw, and throw a pick. So it's a little bit of like, all right, Jordan, maybe you should take some sacks, but also we got to keep this guy upright. Love Jalen Hurts, one of my favorite quarterbacks. Man got some pride about himself and his people, but that brother is not like this phenomenal quarterback, but he has a great offensive line.
Amazing.
They keep that man upright. They keep him clean, and it doesn't hurt that he has, he got, we always keep talking about who's the Packers wide receiver one. That is a team with hey, we probably got 2 number ones.
Yes.
And I think you see what Goots move. Like he said that they weren't chasing a particular team, but I think there's a template now for the league. I think if you notice, if you look at us, the Ravens, and the Eagles, it's still a passing league, but you see an old school football come back with running backs making up a large part of the offense. And thank God we had Josh Jacobs. A lot of them runs that Josh got, he created, the room for himself. Like he did a lot of the work. Peter Bukowski from Locked On Packers had these stats that showed that like our run blocking wasn't as good as it could be. So there was yards left out there on the field. And you look at the size of the offensive lineman we drafted, it's kind of like, all right, well, this is working out for the Eagles. Maybe we can go get some big old hogs to be up front and protect Jordan and open up some holes. So as much as it's not like a flashy offseason, I get the point. Like, and it's also a little bit of like, hey, Jordan, we gave you this big contract. You got to prove it now. Let's take away any excuses or reasons like, these dudes lead in the league in drops. I think they said us and the Browns had the most drops.
That's crazy.
Never be in a statistical category where it's us and the Browns are leading the way.
You don't want that at all.
Ever. So
that's tough.
You eliminate the drop. Well, got to drop passes, but we shouldn't be leading the league in drops. Now it's like, all right, Jordan, go prove it.
I agree.
Let's see.
I agree. So the biggest thing for me, I think the biggest thing I screamed for in the offseason is I just wanted a veteran receiver. Now, they technically did get that. Okay, so maybe I shouldn't complain. And, but I don't see him as the type of veteran receiver that I was looking for. I need a guy who could be the 3. No, one, well, maybe not the 1 or the 2, but at least the 3. And Hardeman, look, Super Bowl winner. You know what I'm saying? He can return the ball, which I think that's where they're primarily bringing him in for. Low key, like they're gonna have a guy that can return the ball extremely well. And so I think we did hear a little rumblings, if I'm not mistaken, about Nixon not wanting to do kickoff returns and stuff anymore. Just complaining or whatever.
That's fine. They didn't do good at it last year,
right? So you bring in a guy like Hardeman who can, he's a really good kickoff returner, / punt returner in the league. And so I think that's where they went with that. I'm not mad at that at all. But I would have loved, especially when you see a guy like Amari Cooper out there who doesn't have to be the 1. He can be your 2. He's still sitting out there. There was another guy, and my mind's just not jumping on it right now, but they had a couple of solid veteran receivers I would love to have had come in if you can get them, especially on the cheap, and then just kind of help those young guys out. That was my biggest thing. I knew we needed a cornerback. I knew that going and get a cornerback was going to be critical. They feel really good about Hobbs. I just hope that, that translate on the field. Stokes, we had so much expectation for Stokes coming out of Georgia. And then, you had that first year and you're like, okay, yeah. And then 2 years of, and so now he's in Vegas. So for me, we were kind of unsettled on what Jair was going to do or what Jair's situation, I should say, it should have been. So that's the part for me that I was, just a little bit, worried about. I really didn't know what it was going to be. And so that was my only like concern per se, man. Like the Jair situation, Stokes is probably gone. We need to build those cornerbacks and build those veteran cornerbacks. You know, I feel like the safety position is in a really good spot. You know,
great spot.
Yeah, in a great spot. And you got a young gun in Bullard. You got still a young vet in McKinney, who obviously seems like he's a leader on this team on the defensive side. Me, you, and Ruck talked about the linebackers and what we wanted some improvement there. And so that's how I kind of wanted things to go. I mean, and it's still kind of early. We did pick up Simmons, who Simmons was the 8th pick of the draft just a few years back. Shame on him, but I feel bad for him because he played for 2 organizations. They ain't too hot. You know, you play for the Cardinals, they go through shambles for the last couple of years. You play for the Giants are the Giants. They know how to beat us. They know how to beat us. I can't take that away from him. But that was my only thing, you know, like I'm hoping that he will be the guy that we're looking for at linebacker to kind of help bring things along. I mean, but overall, I'm not upset with what we've done. Maybe a little bit more, but I'll take it.
Simmons is here to play linebacker. I think he's here to play special teams.
Oh, man.
Because here's the other thing, too. You got to remember, Rich Bisaccia has an assistant head coach title. One good thing about him coming in is you don't see us using wide receivers on special teams the way we used to, which is better for the wide receivers. They're not running down, trying to tackle people on special teams. You see a lot more linebackers and safeties playing special teams, which is that's all Bisaccia. And because if you look at the guys we drafted too as well, those guys are going to play edge and linebacker. And then you look at what Simmons has never found a true position. I don't see him beating out Quay.
No.
You're not taking snaps away from Cooper. Colin Oliver, you're not taking snaps from. And you still got Hopper, who played well in spurts. I don't see him taking spots. I think it's primarily a special teams. That is the one thing I will give Rich Bisaccia. There have been issues at kicker up until we got McManus, but the way we cover kick returns and punt returns has gotten so much better because for some reason, for the longest time, the Packers would just use like wide receivers out there on special teams. The other thing with I could see McCall Hardman getting cut.
I can see it.
You found your speed guy in Hardman. Him, Belton, and who's the other guy? Like our other 5th receiver.
It's Melton. It's Heath.
Belton, Heath do the same thing. They're small, fast guys. Well, you just brought in a dude in the first round that's doing all of that.
It was running 4.2s and 4.3s and stuff like that. So,
and Savion, I think it's Savion Williams.
He's 6'3",
6'4",
6'4", yeah.
And he's returned punts and kickoff in college. And if he's going to be sporadically used on Wildcats, like he can do everything. He can play in the backfield. He's played quarterback. He plays wide receiver, return punts. Let that dude return the punts because Jaden Reed's not doing it anymore. Nixon's not doing it.
No.
And if you took a guy in the 3rd round, hey, buddy, I know you want to win a Super Bowl, but you weren't the guy. It was Tyreek Hill who was the guy when it happened. And it just happened that's the way the board fell, and Gould was able to pick up guys that are, they fill similar roles. And you're always going to give the preference to the guy that you drafted, especially a 3rd round pick. There's one thing about Gould where sometimes he does make the mistake of holding on to his draft picks too long. I think the Amari Rodgers, that was where he finally started to see the light. Like, look, man, if a guy can't play, he can't play. You got to go. But there will be guys that he would hold on to. And we just be looking at it like, what are you doing?
Let me ask you now, when the draft was happening, and we're sitting there, finally it's the Packers pick. You wait all night, 3 hours, whatever, 2 hours. Did you think they were actually going to go receiver? Because I did not. I thought that, in my mind, I said, okay, well, I think at the time Will Johnson was on the board. I'm like, okay, they may go corner here. Will Johnson, 6'3", 6'4". Prior to the injury, a lot of people thought of him like Saren still, top 5 guy.
Yep.
And I saw some mocks that had him in the top 5. I saw some mocks that had him in between. So, like, he could have been anywhere. And when he fell, I'm like, okay, that's a really good guy that you could get. Linky, I think he's like 6'3", 6'4". You know, and dealing with some of the receivers they had to deal with in the division. I was like, okay, I can see that. So I was very surprised because the one year that I was like, I ain't worried about no receiver, like not in the first round anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The 1 year is the year it happens. Were you expecting that at all? Because I was just like, I didn't. The 1 year,
I knew they wouldn't go Will Johnson because do you remember we drafted the offensive lineman out of Tennessee that was coming in off of Justin Harrell?
Oh, that guy
coming in off of injury. And it didn't work out, and they've never done that again. So I was like, all right, it's not gonna be him. Once Emeka Egbuka got drafted, I thought it wasn't gonna happen because I thought that was the receiver they were gonna go for if he was available.
Right.
And Denver got him, and I was just like, damn.
Actually, Tampa grabbed him. Tampa grabbed him. Yeah.
So at that point, I was like, all right, it might be James Pierce. Because Goose been weird. He'll say we're set at a position, we like somebody, and then he'll either cut the person, like with Aaron Jones. Yeah, love Aaron, love what he does in the locker room, loves what he brings to the table. Aaron, get
out of here, sir.
Yeah. And then you've just been talking about how, we're set at the defensive end position, we're at the edge position, we're good. So I'm thinking, all right, he said that, but he's probably going to draft one. And so I'm figuring he's going to take him. And they drafted Golden. I was like, oh. The thing that surprised me about Golden is they don't generally draft guys that the athleticism and the production don't match up.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at guys they draft for the most part, up until I want to say maybe the last year or two, if you're not a freak athlete and have the production, they won't touch you. And that's why the Van Ness pick surprised me. And then the Golden pick, and I'm like, oh, you're starting to draft guys based off like primarily the RAS score.
Mm-hmm.
And generally they like guys with a RAS of like 8 or up. And which is why people always make the joke. I got a homegirl that always makes the joke. She goes, look, the Packers are always going to draft some 6'4" dude that run 4.3, but they only played 2 years of football. And Ted's thing always was like, nah, man, if you didn't produce in college, I don't want to touch you. And Goots been starting leaning the other way of like, I'll take, guys with elite traits. Like that's the Matthew Golden pick.
Right.
That's the Jordan pick. Like Jordan had elite traits, but the production was there. The Van Ness is purely elite traits because he didn't even start at Iowa. Even the Gary pick, which I'm still not a fan of.
It's still kind of like in between, like you'll have moments you be like, okay, that's why we drafted you. And it's like,
And Brian Burns was right there. You could have taken him.
Yeah, man.
Here's the other part. Gary and Bosa were drafted the same year. I think Bosa has like 70 sacks to Gary's 32. And Bosa missed an entire season while Gary, when he did tear his ACL, but that was in November. Bosa missed a complete season, and you've got this man by almost 30 sacks.
That's crazy. That's crazy. it's crazy. Oh man, I know. And then the defense for me is just, I don't want to say a level of concern because I felt like we did play better last year.
Oh yeah.
Than we've played in years past. But I think there was a part of me that just really wanted to see them take another leap. But we both talked about this. With Ruck, and we knew that there's a plan here. There's a plan that we're not all privy to. Completely to it. And so I think that next year is going to be the year that they really crank it up. They're going to be smart about it though. And so there was a part of me when I went to the NFL owners meeting, I looked for him, man. I looked for your boy. I looked for Goody, man. He was kind of like, there wasn't dipping and dodging me, but he was there. And I'm like, where are you, Goody, man? Where are you? I was like, I did get to speak to Matt LaFleur. And it was a very, it was a decent, brief conversation. I tried to keep it civil because, when you're a fan of a team and you get to meet the head coach, especially in a setting like that. It was a very private type of situation. This part, everybody's kind of laid back, and it was a very fun experience. So shout out to the NFL and the experience that they give for that. And it's not often that anybody can just get in there. So it was an honor. And I saw him there, and I was like, I'm gonna go speak to him. I went up to him, spoke to him, told him good luck on the season, hoping for the best, all that good stuff. He shook my hand. We spoke to his wife. It was cool, But I made sure I said it. I'm like, man, I wanted to say like we count on you. Couldn't say it. I told him, I said, hey, I was like, hey, we I cover the Commanders, so on and so on. I'm a part of the Commanders coverage team, but I said, but I grew up a Packers fan. I just want to let you know that we're rooting for you. So good luck. Good luck. Good luck.
With a stern look too.
With a stern look, like good luck, sir. Good luck. So I meant it. I needed to know that I meant that from the heart. We got people rooting for you, man, and that was cool. That was really cool. I had a really good time down there, man. It was that very, very different. So a couple of the guys that are no longer Packers they're in different places. I don't hate to say his name. I don't know. It's got my name in there. Is it Turdell?
Oh, yeah, the defensive lineman, right?
Yeah, Darrell. I don't know. It's the Turdell, but Slayton, no longer with us. He is now a Cincinnati Bengal. Eric Stokes heading to the Raiders. Eric Wilson, who was a veteran on our team.
Well.
Yeah, he played well. Came in when I was like Quay that got hurt, and he came in and Quay got hurt. He played some really good games, and one against I think Minnesota. In that first game, he was really good in that. So losing him to Minnesota because he played with Minnesota before he came to Green Bay. So losing Josh Myers, which is probably one of the bigger ones, for us. Corey Ballentine, he's going to the Colts. Myers are now a Jet. AJ Dillon signing with the Eagles. That one is. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting that they have the two quad guys now together. If AJ is fully healthy, so I mean, the neck injuries are nothing to play with. We've seen that with Nick Collins, and then Robert Rochelle. So out of those guys, is there anybody you wish we would have kept with that group, or you're okay with everybody being on their way?
Once they said they were sliding Elton over the center, I was like, nah, we're fine. We're fine. Because AJ, think about it. We drafted AJ in the second round.
Yep.
And he barely produced.
Yep. He had like one season where he looked like we could have kept Aaron Jones for all that.
We could have kept Jamal Williams and never drafted him.
Oh my God, that part. Forgot about my man Molly Mall, man. Forgot about my man Molly Mall. I was mad when
huge mistake.
I was mad when they let my man Jamal. Jamal was a Packer fan. Like he cared. Like he cared. Like he wanted to be there. Aaron's the same way. They get rid of guys who love the organization. I think that's the one thing. I understand it's a business, but that just pissed me off when you see somebody who bleeds the green and gold. So whenever they play against Green Bay,
he's at the tunnel dapping dudes up.
Yeah. They when these players come back to Green Bay, they're mad. And I guess because I don't know, maybe it's so built like family once they're there, but when they leave, they don't want to. Like a lot of them don't want to go. And he didn't want to go. Heck, Aaron didn't want to go. If you look at the past, Brett didn't want to go when he wanted to go. He just ended up going because Green Bay got tired of him playing, doing whatever he was doing. Aaron didn't want to go. Heck, there's players that want to come here, and we didn't open up the book to them.
Corey Lindsley said they didn't even offer him a contract.
That's crazy. It's crazy to me. Like guys like that, the Micah Hydes of the world. Rasul Douglas should have never been traded. I understand we got a third round pick. I'm still mad about that. That guy was a leader of that locker room.
The only thing is, I think that pick turned out to be Jaden Reed.
Didn't it? Yeah, I know. So it worked out. It's like,
that's where it's like,
I guess so.
But I find a quarterback.
And when he got the pick, I was like, at first I was like, oh man, that sucks, man. Yep. Hate to see him go. But he's available now. You can always bring him back, dude.
And that's another thing. They don't bring people back.
No, they don't. It's
a lot
rare.
of teams do that. They do not bring people back.
Don't bring people back. I can't. I'm trying to think of somebody that left and came back, and that's a hard thing that I can.
James Jones is
James Jones. Because even when
Ted,
and then even when Jordy left, a lot of people thought he was coming back, and then Jordy just retired. He didn't even come back. Whew. Clay Matthews. A lot of people thought Clay Matthews was gonna come back. Nope. Clay Matthews. Nope. No go. BJ
Our front
Raji.
office is cold blooded.
Yeah,
when the BJ thing was weird because I remember he said he was just taking a year off and he was gonna come back.
He never came back,
and I ain't seen anything from that man.
I ain't heard from him. I hope he all right. We love you, BJ. when you're working, watch. Hey, look, BJ had charisma, man. Like BJ, man, I used to love those commercials, man. Miss BJ Raji, man. So whatever he's doing out there, man, I hope you know. We might have to try to get you on the show. Where you at, BJ? We want to talk to you, man. Talk Packers football, talk some football, man. If you're still about there. But yeah, you're right. I've never seen them bring people back. That's very interesting to me.
As a matter of fact, I think James Jones only came back because Jordy got hurt, right?
Yeah, and they brought him back because Aaron pretty much had to beg him to bring him back, and then he wanted to stay after he led the team in receiving, and they said, and homeboy told him, he's like, look, I can't sign you because we're trying to develop the young guys. He pretty much told him like he didn't want it because he knew that Aaron was going to give him the ball all the time, and the other guys wouldn't develop. He knew that. Wouldn't do it. He said, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm like, bro.
Cold-blooded.
But they loved it. But it also tells you that other than maybe Greg Jennings, most of those people, when they end up they come on these shows like podcasts, most of the time they don't talk bad about Green Bay. And they may be mad because they didn't want to go, but they don't talk bad about Green Bay. Maybe a couple. Heck, even Aaron hasn't really said but so much. And we know how he feel about Goo. He don't like the front office, but he loves everything else. He be naming all the equipment managers and stuff on Pat McAfee. Yeah, I miss Bob, man. Bob out there, the towel guy. You know, he was, such a great guy. Tell Bob and Mary, he knew everybody by their name. Yep. Like, I'm like, that's how they are as a family atmosphere, man. So it's
should have treated people better when you was here. You should have respected the Goot man. Now look at you. Now look at you.
Now you don't know what you want to do. Look, they said Aaron's got a woman now, or he said on Pat McAfee that he's dating somebody. And I'm glad I wouldn't even say that if I was him. Just keep it on the hush, man. Like, once people found out you're in a relationship, they just in that world, it's over. You should have just stayed quiet. But I don't even know if he's coming back. He's gonna wait it out. He's gonna make Pittsburgh wait way too long.
And to me, it's like, dog, have you not realized this? You not coming to OTAs, you showing up late to training camp, it ain't helping.
No.
Like, it's not helping you. Oh, I'm going to throw with DK Metcalf. Like, now they got rid of George Pickens. I'm not coming back for that nonsense.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense at all. And so if you're Tomlin, you got to be pulling the hairs, waiting just to get your quarterback in the building. And if he decides no, then you got to go try to hope you can scrape up Kirk Cousins. That's if the Falcons let him go. And the Falcons over here talking about like they don't even want to give the money up. Like they want people to pay for Kirk so they can get some of that burden off their shoulders.
You know what's crazy? And what was the point of signing that man?
Doesn't make sense to me.
Like, and now that you know Michael Penix is starter, why are you holding on to him?
Right. But at this point, it's just about the money. They know they kind of made a mistake. But I think when we had a conversation on Legacy on Fire, we talked about it. And when the trade happened, I said, this is crazy. I said, because in my mind, I think he's there no longer than 2 years. Now I don't know what the clauses are in his contract. I would have never dreamed it had been 1. Plus, they were 6-3 before he got nicked up. Yeah. So once he got nicked up, they took that as an opportunity. They was like, all right, let's go ahead and put Penix in. But you knew he wasn't healthy. And now Penix did his thing enough to where people are like, I think we got our guy. Yeah. He I saw him in person. He looked good. I'll get a chance to see him this year in person. Like, he looked good. So, yeah, it's just a weird situation. It's a very, very, very weird situation.
And I'm hesitant. I'm just trying to word this properly. And the decision was made by two fellas who you're likely to get fired really quickly.
I know what you're trying to say.
Like,
it's like it wasn't a smart decision, guys. Like
you gotta know that the runway just ain't as long for everybody. Like, I look at the guy in Dallas and I'm like, "Oh, buddy, they're gonna put all the blame on you for this one, and you probably won't be back here. I hope." Okay. That's the decision you made.
Man, that you're not gonna get that lick, man. Like it's crazy. You're not gonna get those Arthur Smith years.
Yeah,
Arthur Smith was there longer than he probably should have been. But you're not gonna get that, Mr. Morris. You gotta be on top of that.
I said, I got one at coach and one at GM. All right,
it's too many. It's just too many.
I think I draw Mayo about the paint real quick. I'm just saying,
Hey, look after last year, and I think what kind of saved them a little bit was because they made that playoff run. They were close to getting into the playoffs, and they just didn't get in. So this is a big year for them. It's a huge year for them. So and they finally drafted defense in the draft. So shout out to the Falcons. Hopefully this is the time.
And then doing that was crazy. Like, I know somebody in the organization probably was like, "Hey, I don't know if y'all should be trading these picks like this, man. This is y'all just putting a spotlight on you,
So what we doing, man?
Sometimes you don't want to call attention to yourself. You already got one DA. We don't need to trade up and get another one.
Yeah. But a lot of Falcons fans, and they my boy James Brown on the network, he was just like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't understand. He said he didn't understand for the last couple of years. They went offense. He was begging for defense. He got mad at me when I told him that they were drafting what's my man name from
Drake London?
No, like I my mock draft I had the I know in the mock draft I had them going with a receiver from Missouri, Luther Burden.
Okay,
boy, your boy got crucified that on Al Gore's internet. It was rough. I posted it. They was like, we don't need that. What you talking about? I said, look, I know you don't need it, but let's look at the last 4 years. Your boys tend to go the opposite way. So he was so happy. And I was happy for him. And then they hit me up. They're like, Darrell, you got to be thrilled. You got a receiver. And I said, I wasn't even looking for the receiver this year. And that's the year I get him. When I wasn't looking for him, I wasn't even in my mindset to the fullest. I mean, I saw people mocking them like, oh, if this person's there, they may go there. Okay, cool. But it wasn't like, you got to go receiver. And so I was surprised. And I'm like, okay, cool.
You know what I think? I think that Eagle game pointed out a lot of holes in the roster. Because we were right there with them. And as soon as the bodies start dropping, it just all fell apart. And to see that we didn't have anybody that could challenge downfield. And once Christian Watson was gone, it was like, and then just watching that line get just ran on in the second half, I know Goot had to watch this and be like, okay, we got a problem. Because it's something we said all last year. There was a lot of hype on that receiver room coming into the season.
A lot. I know. And we were all said,
them dudes, it went to their heads. I don't care what nobody said. That went to their heads. Because them dudes did not play like they did the year before. And I love that Golden said he texted Jordan and said, you can count on me. I'm going to catch the ball.
You can count on me. I'm going to catch the ball. My man.
And I know Josh Jacobs was like, see? Because he said it. He said, we need a one. I love the dudes we got.
But we need a
one. We need a one.
And he's not lying. They need a one. And that's why he tried to recruit Devontae. He was like, look, man, he tried it. I didn't think it. There was a part of me that thought it might have happened for a second.
I thought it was going to
happen. There was a part of me. I'm like, he may be coming back, but like we said, they don't bring players back. They don't bring them back. And there was a part of me praying. I'm like, yeah, just go ahead and bring them back. I mean, what is it going to hurt?
That was the one dude that should have brought back.
They should have brought him back because he could have helped those guys a lot.
Yep.
He really could have helped those guys. And a lot of them some of them he played with. So I think that, or they may have been rookies.
Nah,
like, I think Dobbs. Well, Dobbs and Christian, there was that's right, because they drafted them the year they traded him. Oh, so yeah, he wouldn't have had nobody there, but still.
Well, like, trying to think that Jenkins was there.
Yeah.
Damn, yeah, this is pretty much a completely turned over roster.
Yeah, Jordan. I mean,
Jordan was there.
Jordan and Jenkins. That was probably about it. Yeah. I mean, but I don't know. There was a part of me that was hoping that would be the one. There was a small hope, but there was a part of me also knew. I said, I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm going to keep the hope alive.
Yeah.
Hoping that they'd be like, hey, man, come on home, man. Just come home. But I think he actually landed in a really good spot. The Rams are going to be a very tough football team. They're young and talented. and McVay and Les Snead have drafted extremely well in the last. I mean, like extremely well the last couple of years. I want to say they hit on every pick, but it feels like they've hit on every pick. It's crazy. They've hit enough on the picks where they're like, oh, we can get rid of Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald. You're gone now, but we've got some defensive studs that we drafted the last 2 drafts. We're good. It's just been happening for them that way.
They did a hell of a job, especially for all them years that they didn't have no picks. They was just getting
right.
Hey, that man in Jacksonville, I know he came from the Rams organization. You don't got the type of roster where you could just be getting rid of picks.
My man said, "I want Travis Hunter." He trying to sell tickets. That's what that was. My man trying to sell tickets. He was like, "I'm going to go get Travis Hunter." People ain't gonna be so mad at me because I went and got technically in most people's eyes the best player in the draft. So you went and got the best player in the draft. Yes, you had to give up way more than you probably should have given up for him. But hey, I mean,
that was crazy.
I like his energy though. There's something about it, and it's that young guy energy. Like he's got that McVay. He looks like he came from that organization. He has McVay, Les Snead energy. So you
better get some McVay, Les Snead players.
you better get some guys in there that can go. I'm very interested to see how their season goes, especially in a division that's weak, because that division is really weak. And they were 2 years away from since winning the division. So if they can get it back together, they may be all right. They may be all right. But I don't know, man. I don't know. This we got OTAs and stuff coming up here in the next. Some people have already been out there doing their voluntary workouts. I know that I have to go tomorrow to Commanders camp for their rookie camp. So that stuff is starting to crank up now. I know the Ravens had theirs last week. So I mean, what do you want to see from this rookie class? Because this rookie class, is there anybody in there that you like that maybe they're not talking about as much from this rookie class that you kind of want to see if they can take that next step and be the next great Packer?
So here's the thing. I expect if Colin Oliver is fully healthy, I expect him to contribute immediately playing on the defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Warren Brinson I'm interested in because he allows Kenny to slide over to his natural position. And I want to see what Matt does with Savion Williams, because I look at some of the other positions. I don't expect Matthew Golden to come in and be wide receiver 1 day 1.
I don't.
I just need you to catch the ball when Jordan launches it 20 yards down the field. That's it. That's all I need you to do. Make it so that we can open up the field. It's not so condensed. Just catch the ball when you get your opportunities. And I'm really interested to see how Savion Williams gets used, because with Matt coming from that Shanahan tree and seeing the things that Kyle's been able to do with Debo and Brandon Ayuk out of the backfield and around. Here's the other thing too, and we've been saying this: no more Jaden Reed sweeps and end arounds.
Right.
No more Christian Watson sweeps and end arounds. I think we got somebody that can do these things, and they are not 110 pounds, 5'9".
Yeah, man.
It's a grown man.
It's a grown man. And that's the part, looking at Golden and now Reed, you got 2 speedsters that can catch the ball, and when Reed's on, he's on. So now it's almost like having a second Jaden Reed here, but faster and supposedly be better hands. So there's a part of me that's very excited to kind of see what how it all kind of just works out. I don't know, man. This season is going to be tough. This schedule is crazy. It's a very crazy schedule. I know you sent it to me a little bit earlier, but I kind of want to review this thing real quick of who they've got coming in this week, because they've got
the heavy hitters.
They've got some. Boy, look, it's going to be rough. That's
Eagles,
the best. That's the
Commanders,
best way to put it.
Ravens, Bengals, Cowboys, Denver.
Yep.
I'm not worried about the Cardinals. I'm not worried about the Browns. The only thing that worries me with the Bears is Ben Johnson will put them in position to be good offensively. But I got a friend who's a Lions fan, and he made a good point. He said Ben would do some big brain stuff to prove, look how smart I am. I know football.
Look how smart I am.
And then it would blow up in his face. And the other thing he said, he goes, look, as good as Ben Johnson was, you listen to them players talk, they were ready to die for Dan Campbell.
Yep.
They weren't ready to die for Ben Johnson. That whole grit and grind stuff came from Dan Campbell. Then the fact that he played the game at the same level that these dudes played at, they can relate to him. Maybe Ben Johnson's going to be you know what it reminds me of, and maybe I could be wrong. He reminds me of a Mike Martz type dude. It's really smart, really good offensively. But then it just all fell apart. Like, I think, 2-3 years after Dick Vermeil left?
Mm-hmm.
He just reminds you of one of those guys that's you were made to be an offensive coordinator. You listen to them dudes talk, those lines, that team, they embodied Dan Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
That grit and grind ain't coming to Chicago. That's not what it's going to be. And he's drafting to make the team look like that. But that mentality of we're going to be physical, that we're going to bite you in the kneecaps, you can't bring that with you. You can't scheme that up.
Yeah. That Mike Marks analogy is a really good one because, he got him back to the Super Bowl, but it was in the early parts of it. And then
it was like the next year, right?
It was like the next year. And then after that, it was just like it slowly deteriorated. Yep. And like all the football smarts in the world sometimes doesn't equal the leadership part of it, I think sometimes that may even hit Matt a little bit because Matt is, we know Matt knows the playbook. We know Matt is smart when it comes to those type of things, but there's some times that you need to have that dog in you. And we talked about that last year. Like, when those wins are coming out, he come out we used to show the videos of them getting hype after the games and stuff like that. And so there was times we say, yeah, okay, Matt, you got a little juice in you. And there was sometimes it was like, oh, this one's a little stale, especially after those games where they like barely won, like against the Rams and stuff like that. And it's just different. Campbell gives so much more energy. He's some people just have the swag.
Yeah,
he's got that, and it's a tough thing. I even think Aaron Glenn with the Jets this year.
Yep.
Like, he's a guy that if they get things going in New York, he's gonna be a big reason because he played. He used to play for the Jets, so he's gonna go in there with just a different mentality. He reminds me of Todd Bowles, but vocal.
Yeah. Oh man, Todd.
He reminds me of Todd Bowles, but vocal. And I'm the 2 times I got a chance to speak or be in the room with Todd Bowles, it's like, Todd, how you feeling today? I was here.
Yep.
I was that we try to go in there. And we just want to win the game. I was like, what is he saying?
Like, speak up, you're a grown man.
I was like, hey, speak, Todd. Todd's like, yeah, obviously, kind of wanted it because we're gonna go right there. But Baker's gonna be good. Oh, okay, great. Thank you, Todd Bowles. Oh man, it was, but I got respect the heck out of him because he's an excellent coach. But man, when he get in the press conference, we got to. I was like, okay, all right, okay, Todd. Okay. it's just funny stuff. But I mean, now that we're getting close, I guess close to OTAs, man. It's like we're right around the corner. Like literally next month, I know, like I said, they got a little stuff going on now, but by the middle of next month, we're like a month away from training camp, and then we're going to be right back in the season. We got the schedule coming out next week. I'm just hoping.
Don't get hurt.
Don't get hurt.
Don't get hurt.
Just stay healthy. Nothing crazy. Let's just get to the season. I need Jordan to be back to somewhat of the form he had the year before last. For him the second half. For him to have the season that he had last year, and still at times you'd be like, God, that guy's got it, but Jesus, can he put it all together? Like, it's there. You see it. We've been saying this for the last couple of years. Like, it's there, man. Just unleash the dragon, like the last dragon. I don't. You got to do something, man. Bruce Leroy, I need it all, man. Like, he's there. Like, he has that.
You know, it's wild.
Just need him to break it out.
It's only year 2. Keep that in mind. Like, and that's what I go back to, because I remember, I think it was about week 13, week 14. CJ Stroud didn't have a good year last year.
No.
Jordan didn't have a good year last year. Everybody else said this, oh, Jordan sat in the bench for so long. Yes, he didn't play. So you lose something by not playing. So I remember we kept saying this. You have to look at him like he is a second-year starter. Like don't look at him like I've sat on the bench for 3 years. No, he's a second-year starter. And most second-year starters, you regress. People got film on you. They know your tendencies. They know what you want to do. And they're going to counterpunch. So now Jordan knows what he needed to work on this offseason. I hope he did. I hope he takes that next step. And now we're looking like a 3-year starter. And then you look at how the league's changed too. Baker finally put it all together, right? What year is it for him? Like not everybody.
Baker's year 8, I think, because he started in 17. So yeah, about year 7 for Baker.
Like not everybody comes in day one. Exactly, Sam Darnold. And do you remember how bad Josh Allen looked first 2 years?
Whew, man, and yes, it was rough. I remember we beat him early in his career. It was like 22-0 when Buffalo came to Green Bay. And it was like, man, I felt bad for him because I said, man, he got to get. But he won that next year, though.
But who showed up that year when he finally put it together?
Stephon.
They gave him a 1.
Yeah, they gave him a 1. You got to give Jordan a 1, man. And Jacobs knows it. Everybody knows it. You got to give him. You got to give him a 1. You can't keep wasting years. I mean, now, granted, Jordan was what 20 when he got drafted.
Yeah.
So that kind of helps because he's only 26 right now, or 25, 26. So you're not in a bad spot. Like he's still got good quarterback years ahead of him.
Yeah.
You can't waste too many of them with 2s and 3s. You got to get this guy a 1, man. Like he has to have his, Batman to Robin, man. He can't be Batman without Robin. He needs his Robin or Superman, whatever you want to do it, but he got to have his counterpart. All the great quarterbacks most of the time have that person. He ain't got that right now. He got guys that have potential, but you need that guy.
Like what? Pat had Tyreek Hill for what? 3 years?
Yeah.
3 solid years?
He did. And then they were still able to win a Super Bowl with, a couple of, added pieces at receiver, but he also had Travis Kelce.
He tried Travis Kelce. So you had a 1 receiver and a superstar tight
Hall
end.
of Famer. You got a Hall of Famer at tight end, greatest, all these catches, all these touchdowns. He's got those records and stuff. Like that's what they have. He needs that person. I don't know if our guy Tyler Kraft is going to be that guy, but Tyler's getting better.
You know what's crazy? I'm really excited about the tight ends because Luke wasn't healthy at all last year.
No, he wasn't.
And Luke, they played really well at the beginning of his rookie year. And if both those guys can be healthy,
it's different. It's a difference.
And I'm not worried so much about the receivers anymore because Matt will find a way to get those guys on the field at the same time. And I think we keep forgetting about Luke Musgrave. The dude is fast as hell for a tight end.
Yeah. I thought a lot of people thought he was crazy drafting 2 tight ends, but we didn't have no tight ends at the time. So, they got rid of our boy, so it was one of those things where that we needed the position. Now it's just like, I don't know. There's so much optimism. Like just like last year, I go into this season with a lot of optimism. Tough schedule, tougher schedule than we had last year. And they still won 11 games last year. Last year they had on paper a tough schedule, but as the season went along, it went in their favor. A Dolphins team that I thought was going to be a lot better, they ended up beating them. They had a 49ers team we thought it was going to be a lot better, they ended up beating them, and they beat them handily too. But they
didn't have Brock Purdy though.
They didn't have nobody. I could have played for the San Francisco 49ers that day. A lot of people say you should be happy you won. No, because that's not to me. I mean, you won the game, but I mean, there's nobody there to prove it. Are we on their level? You got, it looked great on paper that you got to win and a very strong win, but it's not the same thing. So looking at their schedule last year, you did beat the Rams, even though it wasn't a nail biter. You probably should have beat the Eagles. Definitely should have beat the Vikings in one of those games. Didn't happen. We lost.
Should have beat the Lions.
Should have beat the Lions. Should have beat the Lions in the second one.
Had no business losing the Bears last game of the season. They look like they just walked out there and said, we're just going to go through the motions.
Man, I was so mad. So, and that's the thing. Like, that's another reason why I say I'm more of a Vikings hater than the Bears hater. I was more mad that we lost the game because that's the first time the Bears won since, 2016? Great. And beat us in 9 years.
They was like they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, right. I was more mad about that. Like, hey, come on, man. Like, I got bragging rights over some of my friends of the Bears fans. I'm like, don't take it away from me, man. That's the one thing that I have. If I'm not going to win playoff games, at least let me have that. Come on, man. Come on, man. What are we doing? So, they finally got one. Congratulations. But the Bears got better. Like, the Bears are going to be.
They definitely got better.
If they can put it together, they're a way better team than they were last year.
But
their offensive line going to be better, should be better, all that stuff.
I just hit me like they got the same schedule we got.
Yeah.
I don't see them beating the Ravens.
Nope.
I don't see them beating the Eagles.
Mm-mm.
Maybe they give the Commanders a run.
Yeah, they've had some really good matches the last couple of years, so that'll be a fun one.
I don't see them beating the Bengals.
That's shaky. The Bengals defense trash, but it's shaky. But the
Bengals gonna put up 50.
Yeah. They may give up 40, but they're gonna put up 50. They're gonna put up 50.
Hey, that Cowboys game looks a whole lot different now too.
Yeah.
Denver's
not gonna be a slouch next year.
That is the upside. Hey, the division got to play all these games that we playing.
Mm-hmm. So if we just got to find a way to claw through it, the Lions are gonna have to also face these guys, and a lot of people say it's gonna be Lions and Eagles in game 1 of the season. So if that ends up happening,
good. Beat each other up.
Beat them up, and I need whatever way they take the L, we got to get a good jump start. That part's going to be important.
And please don't send us to Ireland. Please do not send us to Ireland.
Well,
no more out of the country games.
I was hearing that it was them in Pittsburgh, is what I was hearing. I don't know if it's not official yet, but that was what I was hearing. It was going to be Green Bay and Pittsburgh and Ireland. So
every time we go play from another country, something happened. Aaron broke his thumb. Jordan. I swear Jordan didn't get hurt. He'd have had a whole different season.
I think so too. Because I think if he doesn't get hurt, I'm not gonna say we have not won that game, but we definitely don't. I think if he's not nicked up and all trying to figure out what's going on, even though Malik played great, and there's confidence level throughout, I think it's a different season. Now, do I think we go to the Super Bowl? No, we probably win another playoff game and then bow out. Yeah, but we definitely win a playoff game, and then maybe bow that way. Maybe even have a chance to win the division.
He moved so much better in that game. He was a completely different quarterback in that game versus the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Completely different. I was watching the other day. Decision make. I mean, he threw the picks, but just his physical, the way he moved, the confidence. His face.
Yeah, it was way different. Like when he got back, you can tell he was kind of shell shocked.
Yep.
That Vikings game, it was rough in the beginning. And then we saw in the second half, you're like, oh, okay, that's what it should look like. And the defense stepped up, and in both Vikings games, I'm like, what are we doing here? You just let them get like a 2-3 touchdown lead and say, all right, it's time to come back now. Can't be doing that.
Story last season.
You can't be doing that. But yeah, man. I know you're excited about the season. I'm excited about the season. Any final words that you have before we get out of here and get ourselves ready for a schedule release next week and all that fun stuff?
Don't get hurt. That's it. I just want to make it through the season. I want to see what this team looks like healthy.
Yep.
I know it's football. It's impossible. But if somebody's going to get hurt, let it be a third string dude that we don't care about. I'm sorry. I know it sounds crazy.
Forget the depth, man. Just give me the guys that start. That's all I care about.
Somebody got sacrificed for the greater good.
That's great. That's great. That's my man, Randall Burns. Once again, everybody, thank you all for tuning in for Green and Gold Over Everything. Just wanted to come and talk a little bit with you guys today about some Packers football, a little bit extra stuff. And we'll be back here, here soon. And, as the things get a little bit better, we'll try to jump back in during training camp and, get some things ready as the season comes along. And we'll be back to bring you season 3 of Green and Gold Over Everything. Randall, once again, brother, thank you for man. Thanks for joining in and coming back in. Of course, we missing Ruck tonight. Ruck probably working his butt off somewhere. So we'll have him back on here soon. And who knows, we might try to get some other Packer fans on here, or enthusiasts, as I like to call them, to talk some Packers football throughout the season. We'll see how that go. Maybe we'll try to get some players. We're going to work on all that stuff, y'all. But once again, we thank you all for tuning in to Green and Gold over everything. This is episode 12. We'll see you guys soon.